Hi, everyone. Welcome to our third and final session for our breakouts. Lunch is next, I do promise that. I'm sure your heads are full of data about data, as mine is right now. But we do have one great final session to lead you through, presented by Experian QAS, a contact data management software provider, and Forrester, one of our Boston favorite research firms. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Michelle Getz from Forrester and Bia Santine from Experian QAS.
That's great. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. It's really exciting to be a part of this event. It's always exciting to see a lot of people from the community. I know all of us travel different places and meet people from national, but doing something in Boston is really, really exciting. So I'm not going to start here and pretend that I know everything about data analytics and talk to you about how others in my company actually do miracles with people. I'll give you a little bit about personal perspective. So as Michelle and I were talking about what to cover today, well, here's some profiles that we don't need to go through. The agenda that we're putting forward are my personal perspective. I'm going to take more of a B2B approach. I lead marketing at Experian QAS, and we've been going through this revolution. So any B2B marketers in the room? A couple? A few? Okay, good. B2C, the rest of them. Any technology providers? Just to get a bit of an understanding of who's here. Okay, great. So basically, what I'm going to go through is what I'm feeling. Just put myself in the hot seat and tell you a little bit about how we are going through, what we've done that was great, what potentially is not working anymore. And then Michelle is going to cover more of the market perspective and talk about that, and given her work with many companies. And we're going to give a little bit of practical uses about how we see data being implemented for actually results. So going forward, I joined QAS about 5 years ago to lead the marketing organization there. And one of the reasons that lured me to QAS was a huge focus on results orientation and a lot about numbers. And a few people laughing because they know that that's the case. So, less focus on the fluff, more focus on the KPIs. And it's something that really got me excited to join, actually stay across the last 5 years. And as you can see, we implemented, and there are few people that work with me here in the room, we've implemented a pretty successful organization. We've been able to really influence revenue and increase the amount of revenue influence by 100% actually. And we also decrease the cost per lead. We also have, we now have something like a 700% ROI on our marketing. But you're probably looking at those graphs and saying, so what happened there? Well, last year we saw a decrease on our results. And really what's apparent is that we can't just continue to do what we've been doing. So we have been very focused, and I'll go to the next one, very focused on lead generation and sales alignment and engagement. And we were and are pretty good at that. And what we've seen is the models that we put forward, the content-based marketing approach that we put forward, is still very successful, but a lot more people are also doing it. So we have to continue to increase the performance of our organization, and at the same time, we are embarking in this very new, and I can call it chaotic because it's very different, but I chose in the slide to put it as exciting because it is very different. So we had one single approach. KPI is very linked to number of leads, cost per lead, the revenue from that associated, very clear, and we are embarking in many ways because of our success into a new world, right? So our organization has grown double-digit, both bottom and top line, and we have the opportunity to really take a lot more of that market. So as a marketer and as the data revolution, we are kind of in the forefront of taking our company from where we are today to where it needs to be. But that has its challenges because we still have to work really, really hard on that lead gen, and harder because a lot more people are actually throwing content out there, right? And on top of that, the sales alignment takes a lot of time, as you guys know. So what we feel is that how do we actually spare the time to get involved with many other parts of the organization and really drive a cultural change that needs to happen around really putting the customer, or in this case, our customers, business customers, at the center to change, to change the way we do business. So we're embarking on a multi-channel. We used to work through direct sales. We have, aspects around going direct to e-commerce. We are also, from a reseller standpoint, looking at indirect channels, and so on and on. I could go on and on about multi-brand, multi-products. So with that said, it's a different world for us. So what we're trying to do is get to that smart stage. So change the way that our organization actually works from being focused in one area and actually making marketing and the customer centricity as part of the overall. This slide just basically covers some of the ways that we're going about making that transition and some of the types of projects. So within marketing specific, getting a lot smarter of the way we do things. So we have a huge automation as well as web initiatives and so forth. And we've worked in these areas. We're trying to take to the next level. So, and I would say from our initial presentation, probably the stage 3 of the evolution of things. So really, at the end of the day, back to the previous slide, is becoming smarter and intelligent of the way we upsell. So with that said, just moving on to how that translates to our clients. So Experian QAS is part of Marketing Services. Marketing Services has a broad spectrum of offers around data and the cross-channel platforms as well as analytics. And the way that we are talking to our customers about things is around the new consumer, the one that is empowered, connected, and always on. And the challenge there is that, it's still the same. Marketing is still, B2B, B2C is the same. We're looking to identify the profile and actually find more of them and engage, but now it's a lot harder to engage in multiple channels, right? So that back and forth and a lot more data, how do you actually create, right, an experience that permeates through many different challenges? So I feel like that's the key challenge that we are facing internally, and we don't really have a trouble getting meetings in terms of meeting with people to discuss these ideas. The real challenge is how to action, right to action on this. And so what we found is that, and this is a nice segue into Michelle's part of the presentation that covers, really, we're talking about we are challenged, but and sometimes we feel bad about not being at the execution, full-scale enterprise phase, but the reality is that very few clients are there. And so I want to pass it over to her, and I'll find some water for both of us.
Great. Oh. Yeah. Oh, wait. Sorry. Free. Let me ask, so at the beginning, Beatrice was talking about simple, exciting, smart. Show of hands, who thinks they're doing simple marketing today? One. Who's doing exciting marketing today? Couple. So the rest of you are doing smart marketing today? Liars. No, kidding. When we took a look at this from a customer analytics perspective, the reality is that you're out there doing some pretty smart analytics. You're thinking about what's going on with your customers. You're thinking about what's going on in your business, and you're trying to make some educated decisions around it. But that smart marketing effort, I mean, we've talked about possibilities today. You heard the term big data thrown out there, and let's put this into context. Big data, little data that just got love. Don't be afraid of it. It's what you've had in front of you all this time. It's really about having the ability and the opportunity to put it to work for you. Now that there's tools that you have, now that there's support within your agencies and your partners to make this happen, you can get beyond just exciting and really make it smart.
get sexy about it. But there's a lot holding you back. And what I want to talk about here is that, well, a little bit of background. I started off my career in analytics, looking at patterns, looking at probability, looking at patient care. Loved it. It was amazing. It answered questions. Analytics told stories. You heard about Panera Bread saying, tell the story with your data. And that's what got me really excited. But what drove me crazy, and it still drives marketers crazy today, can you trust the quality of the data coming in? Not the insights that you gain out of it, but even just the base data that's available. How do you even access and bring all of this information together? And while it's a problem and you're concerned about it, what I think is more fascinating, it's holding you back. How do we get beyond this? And this is what we're going to talk about moving forward. And what do you do to get out of either simple or smart and move into, or simple and exciting and move into smart? So the first thing that we need to consider is it's not one or the other anymore. We talk about, the funnel. Everybody's used to the funnel, your conversion funnel. How do you start a campaign? How do you follow it through? How much money did I spend? Can I optimize my spend? Am I getting the conversion rates that I want? Very business performance oriented. And then there's this option of what's the customer experience? What does that buyer's journey really look like? And it's cyclical. So you've got one that's very linear, one that's very cyclical. And in a simple world, you would say, I'm going to choose one or the other direction. And the reality is you don't choose. You have to pull these worlds together in some manner, shape, or form to make this happen. And you do that by thinking about not just analyzing the information, taking a look at the results, but taking those results, and whether they're good results or bad results, put them back into the mix. Get smarter. So define what it is that you're trying to achieve, whether it's in customer experience or whether it's a specific business outcome and performance metric. Design your system around that experience, around the offer that you're going to drive. Execute on that, and then learn from it. Put those learnings back in. But to tackle the challenges around the data follows through the same way that your marketing efforts do, that closed-loop marketing effort. You're still defining everything. And then you start thinking about what's the data got to support? How do I capture it? How do I organize it? How am I going to make sense? What sort of preparation do I need to do? And I think a great example of this is, we've been talking a lot about digital marketing and, different types of media placements and all the things that you have, all the great things that you can do to try and figure out what's going on with your customers and potential customers. What about tagging? How effective are you in breaking down your campaigns, breaking down your offers, breaking down the creative, and breaking down the experiences and the behavior, and then being able to analyze that in a manner that's going to be effective? Your design has to account for that. In execution, hopefully all the good work that you put in there builds that layer of foundation around the data that you actually have for your analytics so that you can break out the noise prior to actually diving into the analytics. And in the learn function, as much as you're learning about the impact of what you're doing from your campaigning and the insight that you can gain out of that, monitor the quality of that information, monitor the quality of that insight. How well is it trusted? Panera was talking earlier at the beginning of the day. How can you get out of arguing over, is this correct or is this not correct, and start having conversations about how you're affecting your business? Putting a monitoring process, not just on the analytics, but also to ensure that the things you put in place for capturing the data are correct, and you get beyond that. Not all data is created equal. You can't trust everything, and some things you have to work on a little bit more. And the way we like to think about that is insight evolves. Insight and the types of analysis that you're doing serves different purposes. So up front, think about what you do from a strategic perspective. Think about the questions that you're asking of your business. Where is opportunity to cross-sell and upsell? Where is opportunity to, get more loyalty and repeat buys out of my customers? Where's new opportunity for a new business model or releasing a new product and growing and extending the business? That type of analytics is around exploration. It's around probability. It's finding patterns. This is what your data scientists and some of these great analysts that are here today and have been speaking earlier have been talking about. From a quality perspective, good enough. Get me directional insight. Don't get caught up in the cycle of I need perfect data to get perfect insights here. You're looking for direction. You want to move quickly. Don't let it hold you back. So that first slide where you see gathering data, integrating data, ensuring the quality of that data, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Put it in context of the types of insights that you need. Moving to the next phase, when you need to be a little bit more rigorous about this, think about what's happening. Insights that you've achieved from a strategic perspective, you want to put into action. You want to influence what's going on with the customer experience, with the engagement, opening up new business opportunity, all the things that we've been talking about today. You tighten the gate. You tighten the controls a little bit. You put more around it, more around your data, more around your insight to validate that what you have is appropriate. Failing is okay in small increments. And we talked about don't be afraid to fail, don't be afraid to make mistakes, but recover from those quickly. Having the right gates in place and having the right monitoring and policies in place to assure that that insight is correct is how you move through there. Anybody looking at open data or providing data services to your customers? No? Over here? Totally different world. What type of policies do you put into place and practices do you put into place that go above and beyond what you would do from an internal perspective so that you get trust in the insight and the information services that you provide? Privacy, regulations, different aspects of that, the controls tighten down even further. So we move from a state of good enough in our data and what that means, going all the way out to perfection. And you're managing across both the balance of opportunity and risk from the insights that come out of that. So to put this in the place and put this into perspective, what we often find is as soon as you start talking about quality, the first thing that comes up is the physical nature of it. And that's so boring. That's not why we're here today, right? But what we're really talking about is linking data to business, linking data to process, gaining insight out of that to influence. And that control mechanism, that governance mechanism, is when you start thinking about what do you need to do, what policies do you need to put into place to make this work and conform to your business. And then what closely follows on, you can see the impact of that. And you can start closing that loop on experience and combining that world of your traditional marketing funnel and performance management with that customer experience. So hot off the press, just got some research back, doing a joint study with IBM right now on how you manage the quality of information around big data specifically. Think about this. Organizations that are seeing 20+% growth in annual revenues have the most mature governance practices and data quality and management practices in place. It's almost counterintuitive. The more control that you put on the data, where's the innovation going to come from? Where's the agility come from? How can you move quickly every time you need to pass a gate? It's like going through a legal process. It's a nightmare. But the reality is how you flex governance, how you align your policies, how you think about ensuring the quality of your data flexes along that insight path that we talked about before. That's how they make it work. That's how they build trust. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid when your IT department says, okay, what are your policies? What are your business rules? Think about what makes sense and help them understand how to balance what you're willing to risk to get the bigger reward on the end. So quickly, just to give a perspective, and then I'll pass it over to Beatrice, is that you've heard about great possibilities from big data, sexy analytics, sexy products. And how do you build? There were a lot of questions earlier in the day of where do I get started? I'm really not that mature. You know, we don't really have an analytics practice, and it's pretty common. And I was working with a pet care company recently who their initial call in was, I need to understand and have a 360-degree view of my customer. My data is everywhere. It's completely fragmented. How do I access this? I need the right skills and so on, and it's slowing my business down. And they'd been having conversations with a variety of, service providers and technology providers, and they picked up the phone and they said, Michelle, I need to buy a master data management solution. How many people in this room actually know what a master data management solution is? Exactly. How boring. That's that IT thing. And I just said to them, and I'm like, do you know what it is? Do you know what it does? Why do you want to buy this? Oh, and by the way, it's really, really expensive, and it's going to take forever to get implemented. Not always, but, so on. And if there's any MDM providers out here, I'm sorry. But really what it took is rethinking, what is their challenge? Why can't they get a view of their customer? And the challenge was, it was about access. I just need to get to the data. I need to get to the data so that I can get the insight, that I can create a customer experience now that I know my customers. So rather than trying to manage around quality and build a big, huge system and find a silver bullet from the technology, it was really about, I just want to put my hands on the data and play. And so it was rethinking how you invest in your analytics and the platform, the technology, and ultimately where insight's going to deliver through your business. And first it was get the access. Get your hands on the data. I don't care how you do it. Get somebody to give it to you, shove it in a spreadsheet, play in a business intelligence tool, get some simple, analytic tool. There's a lot of them out there. Some of them are free, some of them are cheap, some of them are expensive. You probably have things in there. Don't worry about prepping the data. Don't worry about the quality of the data. Just play in it. Have fun with it. You will find out very quickly what's working and what's not working in that data. And it'll help you balance out, when am I going to put more controls around this? Where should I focus? And what am I just going to allow to help me move faster and get value out of that little playground that I just created? And that's where the quality component comes in. So you're building quality as you can play more and more with the data. Then you can start thinking about, ooh, sexy analytics. Rather than slicing and dicing your data and drilling down and drilling up and playing with segments in a very simple manner, you have a foundation for thinking about, what are the questions I need to answer? Where am I going to get the impact for the business out of what I'm doing? So first step, open it up, get in there. Second step, understand what it needs to do to work for you. And third step, take all of those things and align it to analytics that matters.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Michelle. So I hate to say this sentence, but I am the one standing between now and lunch. So I had prepared a few case studies. I will go through them quickly. And we have several people here from QAS that you guys can come and talk to us if you have more interest. But a couple of things I want to say. So as we at QAS internally are looking at small projects or smaller than the overwhelming end state that we want to get to advance our state and really take advantage of new technologies, more data, and really evolve our business, our clients are seeing the same. And I selected a couple of case studies just to show how sometimes smaller, you can start small and get a lot of success out of it. This specific one is an interactive ad agency that was looking to improve lead quality. And they really looked at, they wanted to also understand take less time to understand the value of new sources and whether they should continue to work with them. And really, at the end of the day, they're taking like 60 to 90 days to do that. And they ended up looking at a solution that was working in real time to enrich those leads and score them, and actually put them into different buckets. And we're able to then reject the bottom of it, the 10% bottom of them, just by simple filtering and including that information based on a scoring model right in real time. So instead of waiting 16 to 9 months, now they automatically, could able to discard leads way in advance. So that's a very quick summary, but a way to implement, a project that doesn't take the whole company to work through. And then the next one is actually a multi-channel retailer that was working on one of those customers' data warehouse initiatives, and the whole purpose of it is so that they could serve their clients better, a clienteling offer, and they hadn't gone through all of that implementation, but found that a lot of the data coming into the process was basically not of good quality. So they were able to implement a solution and the capture of the data that improved that quality in real time, and they are therefore creating the data and enabling the linkage that was necessary to serve the clients better, which was the end state. The next one is around a home goods online retailer. And this one is very specific to remarketing through email. And so after the first purchase, they were able to enrich the data in real time of that first purchase customer, and automatically put that, send a thank you email based on the 20 segments they had identified. Instead of, and for them it was very important because the business sells home goods, and a lot of the home goods sales is done within the first period because you're just moving to a new place, and so that the timeliness of it was very important. So they were able to get a significant increase, about 40%, by just in real time getting that information, matching that purchase information with behavior information and demographic, and be able to segment in real time. And then the last one I had put together here is IP address to demographic and behavior information at the zip level. Example from a website, basically this company was already implementing a dynamic marketing platform, but they wanted to be able to, as the first time that new customer or new prospect was coming into the website, they were able to, again, be able to start segmenting from that first time rather than waiting until they had more information across the different actions that they took. Again, I had to go kind of fast because of the time, but we are here and can speak more about it if you guys are interested. I'll pass it over to Michelle to finalize with some insights. You have to, I don't know if you need that.
So first, to get from simple to excited to smart, go beyond just the sexy business intelligence reports that you have. They're easy to understand, they're easy to play with, but you're really taking a look at taking insight, pushing it back into that analytic funnel, and becoming more and more sophisticated about the algorithms and the models that you put into place to get good insight. So don't confuse simple and easy to read with sophistication around what you can do from an analytic perspective. There is continuous optimization. And what you sort of heard today, but maybe didn't digest as well, is your customer segments, who your customers are always in flux. So how do you continuously monitor what those are? How do you move insights faster and faster and faster back into that analytic loop process so you can keep up with your customers? And I think a perfect example is if you think about a buying cycle, when you're becoming educated about purchasing that car, it may start 3, 4, 6 months before you ever purchase. You're just kind of randomly going out there and searching it, through information, but it's periodic, it's sporadic. When your customers get to the point of making that purchase, in that car scenario, they're probably on car websites, Edmunds, Kelley Blue Book, whatever, cars.com, and getting more and more and more information on a very, very frequent basis. They could be going and hitting websites several times a day. If your analytics cycle to understand your customer is taking 2 to 4 weeks before you can get insight and push that back into your loop, it's too slow. So converge what you learn from your marketing activities and your agencies back into your IT resources so that you have faster time to value on those insights. Context is everything. We heard a lot about different marketing channels and silos out there. Pull it together. Do what you can to pool your budgets. Do what you can to just get in the room with your other marketing channels and find out what they're doing and what can you learn from each other. Begin that process to integrate. Think about the business pain first. Most of you, and I know we've been talking about this and you've been hearing a lot of examples, but sometimes you get caught up in my data isn't clean and I need this tool and why won't IT do this for me? And there's always a reason not to do something. But if you're constantly having your eye on the ball and what you need to achieve in the relationships with your customers and driving, outcomes for your business, that's your guiding light. That's your lighthouse. Build your platform and build your data around that to support. Find the power in data. Thank you. Any questions?